Do you need a word from God? Do you need to hear from God? Do you need God to give you direction, guidance, an answer? I want to encourage you to not give up, but to persevere until something happens. We come to the book of Daniel, and we read about Daniel in a situation where he needs information from God. He's got some prophecy about the Jewish nation and what God is going to be doing soon. He needs more information from God, and so he begins fasting and praying. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 21 days, and nothing happens. But then in verse 12, a man appears, an angel, Gabriel, the messenger angel, shows up and begins to speak to Daniel, and this is what he says in verse 12. "Don't be afraid, Daniel," he said to me, "for from the first day that you purpose to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your prayers were heard, and I have come because of your prayers." Do you understand that from the very moment he began to pray, God sent Gabriel with the answer? When we pray, God may immediately be sending angels. I love this story because it gives us a glimpse into the spiritual realities of prayer. God is sending angels when we begin to pray with answers. But things happen. Verse 13. He says, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia opposed me for 21 days." Who's the prince of the kingdom of Persia? He's a principality, a demon, a strong demon over all the demonic forces over a demonic nation, Persia, the most powerful nation in the world. So the answer wasn't getting through because there's an army of demons blocking Gabriel from getting through to Daniel with the answer. Do you understand that when you pray, you may be causing angels and demons to fight over whether or not you're going to get the answer to that prayer? You got to persist until something happens. Then we find that the spiritual enemies, they're hindering the answer. They're keeping it from getting delivered. That's why we got to keep praying. But we continue in the end of verse 13. "Then Michael, the archangel, one of the chief princes of God's kingdom, came to help me after I'd been left there with the kings of Persia." So God sent Michael to come and help with Michael's army so that they could break through, so Gabriel could get through to get to Daniel and give him the answer he needed. Answered prayer is aided by perseverance. After it took 21 days, what if he'd stopped praying? What if he'd stopped fasting? Would Michael have been sent with the army to help Gabriel get through? We don't know, but we know that his prayers, his perseverance, his fasting made a difference. An answered prayer is aided by fasting. And so it concludes, it says, "Now I've come to help you understand what will happen to your people in the last days, for the vision refers to those days." I want to encourage you. You need something big from God. I want to encourage you to persevere until something happens. Fast, pray, don't give up. Realize there's a war going on in the heavenlies, possibly over whether or not this answer gets through. Cry out to God and realize God may have already sent your answer, and you just need to keep praying until the answer gets through.